All right, let's dive right into this explainer covering Chapter 8, Microbes in Human Welfare. Today, we are going to completely shift our perspective on the microscopic world. We usually think of these tiny organisms as the bad guys, but prepare to have that notion totally flipped upside down.
While previous chapters, and let's be honest, pretty much all of popular media focus heavily on pathogens and illness, we are going to ask a much more vital question. Could we actually survive without them? As we're about to see, microbes are actually our most essential life-sustaining partners.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the microbes around us, then look at microbes in our homes, industrial-scale microbes, treating our sewage, biogas and green energy, and finally, revolutionizing agriculture.
Okay, first up, the microbes around us, life in the extremes.
These guys are literally everywhere. We're talking deep inside boiling geysers all the way to meters below freezing snow where absolutely no other life forms can survive. And the diversity is just staggering. You've got rod-shaped bacteria, wild-looking viruses like bacteriophages, massive fungal colonies. And what's fantastic for us is that many of these can be grown right in a petri dish, forming colonies large enough to study with the naked eye.
Moving on to Part 2, Microbes in Our Homes, Everyday Magic.
Let's bring this right into your kitchen, because familiar items like curd, bread, and Swiss cheese only get the nutritional value, puffiness, and those famous large holes through specific microbial fermentation processes. Lactic acid bacteria convert milk to curd, packing it with vitamin B12. That puffed-up dough for dosa or bread? That's carbon dioxide released by baker's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. And Swiss cheese gets those iconic cartoon-like holes from a bacterium called Propionibacterium charmonii, churning out massive amounts of CO2.
Next is Section 3, Industrial-Scale Microbes, Saving Lives and Making Chemicals.
So what happens when we scale this up? To harness their power for human welfare on a global level, industry requires growing microbes in enormous vessels called fermenters. These staggering setups visually bridge the gap between a tiny little petri dish in a lab and the massive global supply chains of the beverages and medicines we rely on every single day. And this scaled-up industrial approach gave us the ultimate miracle: antibiotics. Just track how this happened. It progressed from a totally chance discovery by Alexander Fleming, who basically noticed a mold called Penicillium notatum killing off bacteria on an unwashed plate, to its full medical efficacy being established by Ernest Chain and Howard Florey. It was then mass-produced to treat wounded World War II soldiers, ultimately earning the trio a Nobel Prize in 1945. A real game-changer.
It is actually wild how cleanly we can map specific microbes to highly powerful, life-saving bioactive molecules. For instance, the yeast Monascus purpureus produces statins, which lower blood cholesterol. The bacterium Streptococcus produces streptokinase, which is engineered to be a clot buster for heart attack patients. And the fungus Trichoderma polysporum gives us cyclosporin A, a strictly vital immunosuppressive drug for organ transplants. These microbes are basically microscopic pharmaceutical factories.
All right, Section 4, Treating Our Sewage, the ultimate cleanup.
Tackling urban wastewater happens in two highly logical steps. Step 1 is the primary treatment, which is honestly just the physical removal of floating debris and settling grit. But Step 2, the secondary treatment, is where the real magic happens. This is a biological process where the water goes into aeration tanks. Oxygen is pumped in, allowing a vigorous growth of useful aerobic microbes into flocks, which are basically massive webs of bacteria and fungi that literally eat the organic human waste.
Which brings us to a really crucial metric, biochemical oxygen demand, or just BOD for short. BOD measures the amount of oxygen that would be consumed if all the organic matter in 1 liter of water were oxidized by bacteria. So it indirectly measures how polluted the water actually is. As our helpful heterotrophic microbes consume the waste in those aeration tanks, they significantly reduce the water's biochemical oxygen demand. And once the BOD is low enough, the purified effluent can safely be released back into our rivers.
Let's roll into Section 5, Biogas and Green Energy, Power from Waste.
Now, while cleaning water takes aerobic, oxygen-loving bacteria, generating biogas is a whole different ballgame. Here, we shift to anaerobic bacteria, specifically methanogens. These microbes thrive in environments completely without oxygen, like sludge digesters or even a cow's stomach. They break down leftover cellulosic materials to produce a highly flammable mixture of gases, predominantly methane, right alongside carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide.
Picture a 10 to 15 foot deep concrete tank fed with bio-waste and cow dung slurry. A floating cover sits on top and literally rises as the methanogens do their work and gas is produced. This brilliantly simple setup, which is heavily utilized in rural areas, provides a clean gas fuel that's pumped directly to nearby homes for cooking and lighting. And the best part? The leftover spent slurry is removed and used as a highly potent, nutrient-rich agricultural fertilizer.
And our final stop, Section 6, Revolutionizing Agriculture, Biocontrol and Biofertilizers.
If we fully lean into biofertilizers and biocontrol agents, we can enrich soil nutrients naturally and target specific pests without poisoning the earth. Bacteria like rhizobium and cyanobacteria literally pull nitrogen out of the atmosphere and fix it into the soil. Fungi like glomus form a symbiotic web called mycorrhiza with plant roots, pulling in phosphorus and protecting the plant against drought. And microbes like Bacillus thuringiensis, or Bt, act as a perfectly targeted natural insecticide, taking out pest caterpillars while leaving the beneficial insects completely unharmed.
There's this great perspective from organic farming that basically states that totally eradicating a pest isn't just impossible, it's actually undesirable. This perfectly captures the core paradigm shift of this entire chapter. It reminds us that agricultural health relies on a complex, balanced web of biological interactions. Instead of chemical warfare, we use natural microbial checks and balances to keep our ecosystems vibrant and sustainable.
So wrapping up this explainer, I want to leave you pondering this. If microbes were to suddenly disappear, how long would human civilization survive without our microscopic heroes? Having seen how they ferment our daily food, cure our deadliest diseases, clean our urban water, and fertilize our global crops, we are left to seriously wonder just how quickly our modern world would collapse without these incredible unseen helpers. Thanks for joining me for this explainer today, and keep questioning the world around you.